Welcome back into the Sports Information Podcast. I'm your host, Hopkins, Season 2, Episode 5, and we're back with another week of recaps, picks, must-see TV, and who's going to cover the spread. Week 2 was a doozy. We ended up with a tie on the record, so we added a new column for the first time in the history of the show. We have a third column on our win-loss total because we now, like men's soccer, like women's soccer in the regular season, we tie. Terrible. Who had that idea in the NFL? We need to get rid of it immediately, but we'll talk more on that later, I'm sure. As always, after the main show content, we'll jump into producer and listener questions, and I hope you guys are ready because, once again, we've got listener questions this week. Shout out you guys. So, straight into week 4, 10-5-1, started off hot with the correct pick, Seattle over Arizona. 3-point sweat. They were a 1.5-point favorite on the road against a divisional opponent, and the Sea Chickens covered. Didn't necessarily pick that, but they took care of business, got the job done. And then we went on a mean streak of losses. Not really, it was just 2 in a row. But Minnesota and Washington were both wrong picks. Led you guys astray here in week 4. I don't really know what happened in this one, other than I've been a little wrong on the Steelers this year. There's been a handful of teams that I was just flat out wrong on. Steelers look to be one of those teams. The Lions were one of those teams. The Bears were one of those teams. The Patriots were one of those teams. Of the teams I just named, I'd say the least wrong that I was the Bears, and I still have only gotten one Bears game right all year. So that tells you everything you need to know about my takes on those guys. Minnesota still looked fine, but Carson Wentz looked like an aging Carson Wentz. He had a couple of missed reads. There was one I thought was really bad. He had a blitz coming down the right side. His O-line opened up, and he had Jettas open from the moment he snapped the ball, essentially, and just missed it entirely and took a bad sack. Plays like that are what led Minnesota to fall 21-24. Washington at Atlanta. I don't know. Sorry if I just smacked my lips in the microphone, guys. But I don't know if this game is ever predictable, especially considering Atlanta's last week loss to the Panthers. I mean, in week 3, you lose 30-0, was it? Yeah, I wanted to pull that up and get that right. 30-0, and then you turn around and hang 34 and beat a team that hangs 27. I mean, congrats to the Falcons for putting on a good performance at home, but if I'm a fan of the Falcons, that doesn't make me feel any better about us moving forward for the season. You beat a Washington Commanders team without Jaden Daniels, and you let that team hang 27 on you. So, I don't know about that one. It was wrong, though. It's one of our 5 losses, and we'll take it. New Orleans at Buffalo, smash hit, nailed it. Not quite a 14.5-point cover, but, that's a huge spread. If you're beating a team by 15 points, you really did some work. And the Buffalo Bills, 31-19, that's a pretty good game. That's a solid win against any team in this league. Tennessee at Houston, we were dead right. And Tennessee, another one of those teams, and Cam Ward, just one of those players that we've been dead wrong on all year. I wouldn't say dead wrong on the Titans because I said they would be bad. I said they would be the worst team in the division. I just thought Cam Ward would look better, and I thought they would look better as a team while still being a bad NFL team, but they look bad as a team while being a bad NFL team, if that makes sense. Cleveland at Detroit, nailed it. This was an easy one. This was a good run of games for us, too. I said, if anything, the O-line for Detroit would be tested as much as it will be all season in this game. And again, they proved to be fine. Detroit is still very much alive and a contender coming out of the NFC. Philly at Tampa Bay. I said it, called it. I've been right on every Bucs game so far this year. Super proud of that. Philly over the Bucs. This was just Tampa Bay's first loss, and it was a tough one, but they still proved to be one of the toughest beats in the league this year, hanging 25 points in a loss. Tampa's still rolling despite that loss. They lost no momentum in my mind. Carolina at New England. Drake May actually looks a lot better than he did in weeks 1 and 2 through these last couple of weeks, but particularly this week. I know it's Carolina Panthers. It's easy to look good against. It's kind of like that Baltimore Ravens defense. Everybody's lighting them up right now, it seems. But hey, the Panthers just shut out the Falcons the week before. And heading into last week, and maybe even heading into this week, most people would probably say that the Falcons are better than the Patriots. So this wasn't necessarily on the bingo card in terms of how that was going to go. And as we see, 5.5-point spread, nobody saw New England doing this to the Panthers. I'm happy to report that we were on the right side of it, and we also have been on the right side of Drake May's breakout year. We called that this year was going to be a step up for him, a huge developmental year in his career, a huge year for building confidence and just getting comfortable in his system, and we've been dead right on that so far. Los Angeles at New York. Whoops. I mean, what did you guys think was going to happen? Wasn't that? Me neither. So glad we can all agree we lost and got that one wrong. I'm sure plenty of people lost pick'em leagues based on that one. Jacksonville at San Francisco. This one was a little more predictable. I was a little hesitant even to select San Francisco over Jacksonville, especially not knowing who San Francisco was going to start. And guys, let me just point out, all last year and all this year, I've been very right about Brock Purdy. He is not an elite level quarterback by any stretch. I wouldn't even say he's a B-tier quarterback by any stretch. Okay? He's certainly not better than Trevor Lawrence. Can't convince me of it. You just can't. He's certainly not better than, I wouldn't even take him over Drake May right now. I mean, like, people who think Brock Purdy is the answer and is a franchise quarterback are one of three things. Or maybe all of the three. Delusional, really, really, really dumb, or lying about watching football. That's it. And again, it could be all three of those things. However, you just can't assume, you can't seriously watch a 49ers football game, especially from this season, and really even from last season. We are now almost 1.5 seasons removed from Brock Purdy having an actual good football career. Last year was not a good step for him. You can't watch those games and come away feeling like, okay, we've got all these weapons, we've got a really great coach. Even if you like the coordinators, you can't walk away from those games feeling like Purdy's our answer, and this is the year that we're going to get over the hump in the NFC, because the NFC has done nothing but get better since Purdy has gotten worse since the 49ers' last Super Bowl appearance. Every team and most quarterbacks in the NFC have gotten significantly better. A lot of improvements across that side of the league. So the path to success and the path to glory for the 49ers is much harder, and those weapons that they got are getting much older. So it's win now with Purdy, and if you can't win now, you need to be real about who he is, and you need to pray that he plays like he's been playing and leads you guys to a bad season with a good draft pick so you can replace him. Because the worst thing that you could have as a 49ers fan is believing in Brock Purdy, reaching the NFC Championship game or even the playoffs, really, and not winning the Super Bowl, or not at least making it to the Super Bowl, and then you don't have the draft capital to select a quarterback replacement in next year's supposedly good quarterback class, right? So this is a real make or break year for Purdy in my mind. I know they just paid him, but the Niners need to be looking down the road from Purdy already, and if they're not, that's poor front office management. All right, that's enough time, way more time than I wanted to spend on that game. This one is one that I want to spend a lot of talking about, as well as this one. But getting back up here to LA, hosting Indy, got it right. Happy to report that. Unfortunately, though, we shouldn't have got it right. And I only say unfortunately because I'm a Colts fan, so I would have loved to have seen them win. I don't know why I said unfortunately. I was trying to reason with myself. But anyway, could have not gotten it right and would have been just as happy. And to my surprise, and to everyone's surprise, it wasn't Daniel Jones's fault in our first loss. The beginning of the season, at the end of week 1, at the end of week 2, at the end of week 3, if you had to make a guess as to like when the Colts' first loss comes, what's going to be the reason? Daniel Jones, New York Giants type game would be my first guess with a bullet. Adonai Mitchell taking 2 touchdowns off the board by dropping the ball and letting it roll out the back of the end zone too early. And then, or dropping the ball too early and then letting it roll out the back of the end zone, And then, illegal block or holding call, I can't remember what it was, on a Jonathan Taylor touchdown run that brings his touchdown back. Inexcusable, embarrassing, annoying as a fan, and I'm sure for Shane Steichen and his staff as a coaching staff, just so mind-boggling. Because how do you drop, like, that's something I don't understand at that level. You're a professional athlete. That's like if an NBA player is going up for a layup and they take their eyes off it too early and start celebrating like mid-jump, and they just let the ball go. Not like a floater, but literally just like slide cancel mid-layup and stop doing what they're... You don't see that. There's no one close to... Run that thing all the way to the wall of the fan section and hand it to a fan. Inexcusable, super pathetic, sorry-ass play, and I hope that kid doesn't see the field for the next 2 games. Moving on, Baltimore at Kansas City. I mean, guys, I had no waver in my pick on this one. Kansas City at home, 1-3, must-win spot against a conference opponent who is also a playoff contender. Won't call him Super Bowl contender, but playoff contender, like supposed to be earning a playoff spot, and you can drop them to 1-4, and they're supposed to be one of the big bad teams that competes with you for that AFC championship or that Super Bowl spot. The Baltimore Ravens, heading into the season, everyone's favorite roster, everyone's favorite team, everyone's favorite pick out of the AFC, it seemed. I had no waver here. I had no doubt that Patrick Mahomes, who always beats Lamar, was going to find a way to do it again. And I do not believe the Baltimore defense is going to have any kind of turnaround this season. I think they are bad, and I think we've seen what they are through 4 weeks. That's one of the things that's happened through 4 weeks that I believe is going to continue, is that the Baltimore Ravens defense is bad. There's a few other things across the league that have happened with teams and players, that trends that may or may not break, trends that I think won't break. That's one of them. Chicago at Las Vegas. It was a sweat, but we got it right. And Caleb played fine. I'm okay with how Caleb played that game. And Ben Johnson is a phenomenal coach, guys. He is already stamped, certified. He's going to be a lasting head coach in this league. And if you need any more proof, go watch I believe it was halftime. Matter of fact, I know it was halftime interview that he did with a reporter on the sideline. She's like basically insinuating that he needs to make changes. And he looked her dead in her face, stared her down, didn't care. Could have been a 4-year-old kid saying it. He would have looked at this kid the same and said, no, we'll be just fine. Don't you worry about us. Like, we've got it figured out. Me and my coaching staff have it figured out. This is what we get paid to do. Don't worry about us. You don't need to tell me how to do my job. And went out there and got the win. Just phenomenal. Gritty, tough, awesome. Green Bay at Dallas. Worst game of the week. Should have been the best game of the week. Was on pace to be the best game of the week. Why is it the worst game of the week? Because it ended in a tie. Unbelievable. I mean, the idea of the NFL adopting a shootout method like the NHL, but with field goal kicks that move back incrementally, like 10 yards every time until one of them misses, that's a better idea than tying. And there's plenty of other ideas that you should implement to settle a tie before field goal shootouts, but that in and of itself is a better idea and certainly makes kickers more valuable to franchises. It's a better idea than ending in a tie. Oh, they played in overtime in the regular season, and it's a longer regular season now, and we're trying to preserve bodies and this and that. There's not a player on that field that took a snap that wanted that game to end in a tie. And that is okay with that game ending in a tie. No way. Unbelievable. Horrible. Horrible model by the NFL. Stupid. We're one of the only sports outside of soccer. I say we, but anyway. New York Jets. Also, we're, like I said, counting that as a tie. We didn't get it right. We didn't get it wrong. We don't get a point for it. It's just we're 10-5-1 on the week. We're 43-20-1 on the year. Pisses me off. New York Jets at Miami Dolphins. I want to start by saying, one, horrible what happened to Tyreek. Hate to see it. You never like seeing an athlete go down with an injury like that. That could be his career. Maybe it won't be, but he certainly isn't going to be the same player that he was. He's not going to be able to get that top-end speed back that he once had, that he was already starting to lose. Not necessarily super noticeably, but Tyreek wasn't Tyreek that we knew him to be 2 years ago even. And now he's definitely not going to be, and you hate to see that because he was one of the most electric players in the league when he was at his best. But we got the pick wrong, and Miami seems to be turning it around a little bit. I still think they're a bottom 5 team in the league. But I might be more inclined to pick them to win a game or two moving forward based on this performance. And also the Jets. I mean, the Jets are tough this year to pick too because they're just so high scoring. Right? So this was a tough one to pick in general. I took the Jets as a road dog. My mistake. Should have known better. Cincinnati at Denver. Nailed it with a bullet. And Cincy, I can't tell you how sorry I am that your season is shaping up to be what it is. All I can say is I tried to tell you at the beginning of the season, temper those expectations. Even if Burrow stayed healthy, I told you guys it was going to be a tough watch this year and a real struggle. I thought the Colts were going to be in the same boat, so I'm really not trying to brag and say my team's better. I'm just glad I'm not one of. I'm glad I'm not one of you guys, but I'm an ally of you guys. I've got an Ocho Cinco jersey. I come to Bengals games. This is sad to see, but I do not envy you at all, despite the fact that you've got Jamar Chase and the thought of Joe Burrow. Anyway, a little salt in the wound for you. Thursday, October 2nd, week 5. We've got San Francisco at LA Rams. We are riding with the Rams here, guys. Not even thinking twice about it. I don't care if you start Brock Purdy. I don't care if you start Mac Jones. That quarterback situation almost means nothing to me all year. I'm not saying that Mac Jones is as good as Brock Purdy. That's not where I'm going. I'm just saying Shanahan's shown that he can get the same thing done with Mac Jones. He can get the same thing done with Jimmy Garoppolo. He can get the same thing done with everybody but Trey Lance, essentially. I'm going to take the Rams, who, by the way, Nick Wright beat me to this, and this is what I get for being a day late, taking a family day yesterday instead of putting the episode out like I had planned. But when are we going to have the conversation about is Puka Nacua the best receiver in the NFL? And I'm going to try not to say it the exact same way, but it's the same thought here. Eye test and, well, really just eye test. Just looking at the field, watching them play, seeing the athleticism that is displayed. You obviously would assume or like to think Jettas, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas Jr. even last year, guys like that with that kind of burst and athleticism to their game that Puka doesn't quite have. Everything that you know conventionally about sports would lead you to believe that those guys are better. But all Puka Nacua has done since he's come into the league is put up top 5 wide receiver numbers in all 3 major receiving categories: receiving yards, receptions, receiving touchdowns. Maybe not touchdowns as much, but targets for sure. So 4 of the 3 major categories for receivers. He's been elite in every game that he's healthy. And this year, he's the number one receiver in the league right now in 2 of those categories. He's yards and receptions, and probably number 1 in targets, too, if I had to guess. So when are we going to have that conversation about, like, this? What this kid is doing is, what he's on pace to do this season would be historic, all time. Calvin Johnson-esque, Randy Moss-esque, numbers-wise. So I'm ready to go there. I'm ready to say Amon-Ra's great. He's as reliable as anybody. Jed is awesome. He's as reliable as any of them. Jamar's awesome. And especially when Burrow's there, it's a light show, and he can go win the Triple Crown. But right now, this year, Puka Nacua. He's my number 1 with a bullet. Whether I'm starting a team in real life and you give me my first pick at wide receiver, or you want me to pick a fantasy player, wide receiver, whatever it is, whatever the context of it is, he's crushing it across the boards as an NFL wide receiver this year, and I'm all in on Puka Nacua right now. So, yeah, and I'm also all in on the fact that the Rams are just rolling. Let's go, Rams. I told you guys at the beginning of the year, Super Bowl contender. Minnesota at Cleveland. This could be a defensive battle, but I'm going to take the team that has a really good defense and the better offense. And in my mind, regardless of what I think of Kevin Stefanski, Kevin O'Connell's better. And I think Stefanski is really good at what he does for context. Kevin O'Connell's better. Their defensive coordinator, I always forget his name, and I shouldn't. I need to know this. Excuse me. But Minnesota's awesome. Minnesota Vikings coordinator. Brian Flores. God, I can never remember that. Got to commit that to memory. Won't forget it again, guys. You can count on it. Miami at Carolina. I'm going to take Miami. Okay, like I said, I'm a little more inclined to pick them moving forward. I don't believe in the Panthers to be consistent. I don't necessarily believe in the Dolphins to be consistent, but I think they've got a little bit more to play for now. I think Mike McDaniel's feeling that pressure of, okay, I'm starting to be doubted as a head coach, and can I do this, and can I provide wins? Period. Outside of that one season when Tyreek first got there. So, give me Miami on the road. Probably a good one to cover the spread this week too, but that wasn't one of my picks. Houston at Baltimore. Okay. I would like asterisks by this pick with a caveat. Give me Baltimore if Lamar plays. If he plays, I know he's going to be playing hurt. I understand that, and it's a hamstring. If Lamar plays the full game, give me Baltimore. That's one sentence. If Lamar plays the full game, comma, give me Baltimore, period. If Lamar does not play, especially if he at all, but if he plays and then doesn't get in after the second half or retweaks his hamstring and goes out before halftime, I think Houston pulls out the win. Houston's got a really good pass defense. Baltimore's going to struggle against that. Baltimore's defense is not very good at all. Like I said, bottom of the league right now. And they just let up 1 billion points to everybody. If C.J. Stroud is any good, if Nico Collins is any good, they'll be able to find a way to put up at least 3 touchdowns this game. I'm sure Houston will be able to move the ball enough on that Baltimore defense to be able to do that. Baltimore's at home here. They could really come out and make a statement and play really, really well and blow Houston out by 20 points maybe and hold Houston to below 13. That's not what I believe is going to happen. I think Houston's going to make this a scoring battle, and I think Lamar will win that if he plays. So caveat there. We'll decide if that should count for our record since that pick is caveated. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but that's my take on this game for the week. Denver at Philadelphia. Give me Philly. Give me Philly here. I don't think Denver's quite as good as they looked last week. I think a lot of that was they were playing the Bengals. I'm a little lower on Denver right now than the rest of the world is, it seems. So I'm going to rock with Philly here, and that's my explanation. New York at New Orleans. I mean, it's a tough one. These are two not so good teams. New Orleans is at home. Jackson Dart kind of banged up-ish. He was questionable, at least on those injury reports. They just lost Malik Neighbors, so they don't have a true number one receiving threat. The Saints still have Olave, even though he's a big bad Wolf's blow away from another concussion. I'm going to go with New York. I like what they've got going with Dart. I like that defensive front a lot. I think they're going to be able to pressure Rattler and throw him out of his spots. And then I think that Scatabo is a really, really electric addition for New York this year. I don't know how he's going to pan out long term. I mean, the way he plays isn't very sustainable, but he's at least fun and exciting right now, and I think it's going to be enough to get past the Saints here. Dallas at New York. This was a tough one for me as well, and it's one of those games that I think could be a light show this week. So I'm going to say Dallas, but I'm not going to feel – I don't feel more than 75% confident making that pick. I don't love it, but I definitely like picking Dallas a lot more than I pick the Jets here in this spot. Las Vegas at Indy. Give me the Colts. We're at home, back in Lucas Oil. Las Vegas is not as good as everyone thought they were going to be. Ginty just had a breakout game. That's cool. That's great. Geno Smith looks bad right now. He's leading the league in interceptions, I believe. He's got like 7 or 8. Give me Indy. We've been playing complete football all year long, and we are a dumb kid's mistake away from being undefeated right now. So, yeah, and at home, we've looked awesome. So give me the Colts here. Tennessee at Arizona. Give me Arizona. Tennessee might be the worst team in the league this year. Arizona's not much better. They're probably a bottom 12 team. But give me Arizona here, especially at home. 7.5-point favorite might be a little too much. You might fade that. Tampa Bay at Seattle. Give me Seattle. Seattle looks really good right now. Darnold looks really good right now. I think I either said Darnold was definitely worse, or he's absolutely no better than Geno Smith is, and I didn't understand fully why the Seahawks went and made that move and paid Darnold what they did. I'm starting to understand it. If this is what we're going to get out of Geno moving forward, I definitely understand it. But yeah, give me Seattle here. I think Tampa's going to continue to struggle just a bit. But I looked at their schedule again earlier. I don't have it pulled up right now, and I'm not going to take the time to do it. But they've still got, even with this loss and like 2 or 3 other losses, I counted at least 11, or 3 or 4 other losses, really. I counted at least 11 wins. So that I feel good about. I mean, the Patriots, the Panthers twice still. The Saints at least one more time, if not twice. I can't remember if they've played already. But yeah, Tampa's in a good spot to hit that 10-win mark that I said, even with losing this game. And I'm going to take Seattle here at home, especially when they've been playing this well. Washington at Los Angeles Chargers. I'm taking the Chargers. This is also one of our must-see TV games. We've got 2 this week. The other was Tampa Bay and Seattle. I think that one's going to could be high scoring, but Seattle gets the edge. Either way, I think there's going to be a lot of highlight plays to see, or a lot of highlight moments at least. And Washington at Los Angeles, I think this will be a high-scoring game. I think Chargers win. I think Amari and Hampton's going to put together a 3rd straight awesome game. I think Herbert's going to come out and have a really good game. And I can't express enough how impressed I've been with what Harbaugh has been able to do so quickly there. It's just an awesome turnaround, and it's making the AFC a lot more interesting, especially the playoff race. Detroit at Cincinnati. Give me Detroit. I put some salt in your wound earlier, Bengals, so I'll just leave it at that. But give me Detroit there. New England at Buffalo. Give me Buffalo. Shouldn't be a close one. New England probably will be Buffalo's toughest opponent in the division this year. I don't know, because yeah, I'll ride with that. We'll unpack that. We'll unpack that later. after this week why I said that and if I was right or wrong on that, or if I could be right. But give me Buffalo to win this. KC at Jacksonville. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs. The Jags have been winning games, not in spite of Trevor, but also not because of Trevor. And neither of the receivers have really gotten it going. The only thing that's been electric about that offense is Travis Etienne's resurgence. And the defense has been playing fine. But Liam Cohen is just not the answer at coach. I don't think he's a very good coach, to be honest. And Kansas City's, like, they're going to start rolling now, guys. Slow start. We've seen it before. It doesn't last long. These guys know how to stack wins, and this is going to be their second win in a row. Okay? Count on it. 3 teams to cover the spread this week right here at the bottom. We're going with Detroit. It's a big spread, but Cincinnati looks bad. I know they're at home. That defense sucks. The O-line sucks. Detroit's defense is really good. Detroit's offense is maybe better than their defense. Shouldn't be a hard cover. Buffalo to cover over a touchdown at New England, or versus New England, rather. Again, I think New England will be probably their toughest divisional opponent. But an 8-point spread's not enough. This should be like 13.5 at least. Josh Allen should be a 2-touchdown favorite over everybody else in his division every week, home or away. Said what I said. Kansas City at Jacksonville. I know it's on the road, but I don't think Jacksonville has played Kansas City to within 3 points in the Mahomes era. Patrick, let me just pull this up. I'm going to use StatMuse here just to cite my source. It's a really good website for players' career stats in obscure contexts. So, for instance, Patrick Mahomes' career versus the Jaguars. StatMuse has all those available, ready to pull up at the search of a button. Versus Jags. StatMuse, it's the first one that pops up, too, when you Google that. So, in his career, he has played the Jacksonville Jaguars 4 times. Those are his stats. How do I see the score? Okay, so give me back there. October 7th, 2018, it was 30-14 Chiefs. September 8th, 2024? No. 2019, it was 40-26 Chiefs. 11-13-22, it was 27-17 Chiefs. And September 17th, 2023, it was 17-9 Chiefs. So I was correct. They've never played the Chiefs within 5 points, home or away. Give me KC to cover the spread with ease. Probably double that. All right. That is week 5 picks. We already did our week 4 recap. We are heading over to producer and listener questions. Fire away.
Okay, first one, you touched on it a lot, and I just kind of want to circle back. I mean, personal opinion, think that it's really dumb that a professional sports game can end in a tie. I mean, I get like hockey, soccer. I mean, I don't really understand it in soccer, but I get like the game is long anyways, X, Y, and Z. But in a football game, man, like let them go until somebody makes the field goal, you know? Like, I don't know. That it just totally breaks my brain. But do you think there are any other rules that should be changed or anything like that? Like, is there something that stands out to you that you're just like, man, that's got to change? Like, anything to enhance the game experience or the watching experience for the fans or anything?
I mean, I think the kickoff change has been really positive for the NFL, and we kind of already touched on that. Outside of that, though, no, there's not. Officiating the tush-push better, which we've heard. It's already been a thing. It's already been addressed. It'll probably get fixed. The overtime thing, though, that just blows, man, and it's such a killer. And in that game, for instance, last week, like Micah Parsons returned to Dallas. Micah Parsons versus Dallas after the big drama, theatrics that went on this whole offseason with him and Jerry Jones, and The Cowboys saying they're going to have a better defense without him, which is just ludicrous. It was such a almost like WWE-esque setup, like such a promotional type game, and then it was immediately an instant classic, 40-40, high scoring, back and forth. We go to overtime, both teams score in overtime. Make a second overtime, make it shorter, or each team gets a 2-minute drive with 60 yards to go. Start them at the other 40, start them at the other 35, whatever it is. Come up with something, because that just ruined what should have been the second best game of the year. First is still Baltimore-Buffalo week 1, but that's right up there, man. And it had everything but the ending. It had everything you want in an awesome game, but the ending. So, yeah, no, nothing else stands out to me, but I'm really glad you brought that back up, because I just wanted to stress that one more time, too.
Yeah, it just breaks my brain, like I said, so I just had to circle back.
Breaks my brain. That's awesome.
It does, man. Second off, the Browns are benching Joe Flacco and starting Dylan Gabriel.
Yes.
I think that's a great decision, personally. I've been talking about him. I feel like every week I kind of bring up the Browns and the quarterback situation, and he's my pick over Shadur for sure. But how do you think he goes against this Vikings defense starting this week?
I think that is a tough ask for your first start. I think the Vikings defense is top 8 in the league. Just off the top of my head, if I had to give you 8 defenses, the Vikings would definitely be one of the first 6 out of my mouth, I would say, comfortably. So I'll go and say top 6 defense. A rookie quarterback, let alone first start rookie quarterback, in an offense where all you have is maybe Quinshon Judkins. He's looked good these first 2 starts, or these first 2 games where he's gotten significant reps. Looks like a true bell cow. You don't have much going outside of that. And even at that, that's a rookie running back. So, again, this is going to be a battle of the defenses if the game is going to be close. But I don't know that it'll be too close. I feel bad for Dylan. I'll say that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I want to see the kid succeed, but I feel like like you said, that's a really tough ask to have your rookie quarterback.
I mean, Brian Flores and Kevin O'Connell are going to eat him up.
I kind of agree with you.
They are going to make his life hell. They're going to throw reads at him that he hasn't seen them yet. He doesn't know how to react to that yet. He's only ever seen it on film, if anything. However, I will say this. The Browns' defense is also a really, 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 really good defense. And their secondary is, I mean, every day in practice, if he's getting reps against the first-team defense, he's throwing to guys that are being guarded by Pat Surtain and Denzel Ward. 2 of the top covers in the league. So he's at least got reps against elite defensive talent, but I don't know that he's got reps against elite defensive game plan and scheme enough to where it's going to make a difference in this game. I'm sure, again, he's gotten reps against elite defensive packages and players in his own practice facilities, but not enough.
Yeah, I see your point. Okay, we got a listener question from Hotel Charlie's.
Sweet.
Going to the AFC South, if you were to do 2 different rankings for their quarterbacks, who do you think has the tag of best right now, and who do you think has the tag of most potential?
Okay. I'm gonna give you 3 answers, and I'll just do the first one, the most dry cut one. I think the most potential is, I think right now would be agreed upon consensus. I think if you when we put this out on the internet, I think a lot of people will agree with this. CJ Stroud has the most potential. Cam Ward, Trevor Lawrence, Daniel Jones. In that order, I don't think many people would disagree. If anything, potential, because of that word being so finicky and so loose, people might say Cam Ward ahead of CJ Stroud. He's younger. He's got more time to go, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the mainstream opinion would be CJ Stroud, Ward, Lawrence, and Daniel Jones, especially based off what we've seen already, like the body of work that we have from Lawrence and Jones. Personally, I think Trevor Lawrence still has as much potential as most quarterbacks in the league. Maybe not those top 5 or 6, but he's got a lot. I think he still has a ton of potential. Will he ever be able to make it amount to something? I don't know. Does he have a mental block? Does he have I don't know what he's got, but we've got enough body of work to know that pretty much what Trevor Lawrence is at this point, despite his potential. The 2 answers I want to give you for who's the best right now, I'm going to give you the mainstream opinion, what I think that would be, and then I'm going to give you what my honest opinion is based on this year alone, based on the 4 weeks of football that we've seen, not taking into account any historical seasons. Mainstream opinion would be CJ Stroud is the best in that. Trevor Lawrence is second best. Daniel Jones is third. Cam Ward is fourth. I think that's the opinion people would give you right now. I think people would tell you Daniel Jones right now is better than Cam Ward as a rookie. Maybe people would try to argue that Cam Ward is better. Daniel Jones is just the product of a really good system and good coach. I would hear that argument out, especially if they also included Cam Ward is struggling because of his poor coaching staff, his lack of weapons, his lack of defense, his lack of basically everything you need to be a successful football franchise. And that's what Tennessee is. They just lack all the important ingredients. My opinion, based on what we've seen this year, Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in that division, guys. Trevor Lawrence is the second best in that division. CJ Stroud and then Cam Ward. And I hope, because I prefaced with this year, you don't need much explanation as to why I say Daniel Jones is the top. If you need an explanation for Trevor Lawrence, it's more than just the win column, because I said he's not the reason they're winning those games, but he's able to do enough to help his team not lose the game, and his team is able to do the rest to win the game. CJ Stroud can't elevate his team the way he needs to. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is elevating his team. He's kind of being elevated by his team, but I feel like he's doing less to screw things up for his team than CJ Stroud is right now. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe you disagree. Let's sit down and watch a game together. Let's make sure we're watching the same tape, but that's where I stand on that. Great question.
All right, that's really all I got.
All right, well, I've got 3 more listener questions over here, so I'll blow through those real quick. After week 4, this is from Jay Bates 2011. He's back again. After week 4, can you give me your top 3 teams in each conference? I should have pulled up the rankings. But top 3 teams in each conference. Okay, so in the NFC, the top 3 teams right now are, in no particular order, the Rams, the Eagles. Maybe this isn't the order that I'm the highest on, but I wouldn't say that I'm committed or married to the idea that the Rams are better than the Eagles right now. I think they're equally as good at worst. Rams, Eagles, and probably the Lions, honestly. And that might be a little chalky. I'm sure there's some media members out there that have got the Bucks up there. There's got to be a couple of guys out there that have the Washington Commanders up there, especially with the caveat of when Jaden Daniels is healthy. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions, the Rams, and the Eagles. And then on the AFC side, I mean, the Chargers look as good as any of them. They really do. The Chargers look as good as any of them. I can't believe I'm about to utter these words. But right now, the Colts are a top 3. No, they're not. No, they're not. I really wanted to put that out there, and I couldn't. I couldn't stop myself because Buffalo's a top 3 team. Buffalo, LA, and God. I'm going to throw this out there, but with a caveat. And then my caveat ends with, then the Colts take the 3 spot. But the statement is, the Chiefs are the 3rd best team in the AFC. Caveat, when Rashee Rice and or Xavier Worthy are healthy, comma, in caveat. And if they're not, the Colts take the 3 seed. So that's my answer to that one. I hope you enjoy that. Second question, Danny Dimes or Indiana Jones? Are you asking which nickname I prefer? Because Indiana Jones is pretty undefeated. If it weren't for Adam Mitchell. But as a movie franchise, as a nickname for Daniel, that's a great one. I also I heard this on, I think it was The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Danny Dollars. He ain't just dropping dimes, he's dropping dollars. So Danny Dollars, I mean, that's a good one too. And then final question from Jay Bates. Your way too early Super Bowl prediction. Teams and results. Oh, good Lord. Assuming the health, give me Matt Stafford and the Rams and Sean McVay and Puka Nacua to get there. And then, Lord have mercy. You know what? It's early on. I want to have some fun here. I'm not married to this take. This is obviously just a response to a question, for funsie, if you will. Give me the Buffalo Bills. And I will take the Rams to defeat the Bills in the Super Bowl by 4 points. Something like 28-24 or 35-31. Something like that. That's what I'm rocking with. That's a wrap, people. That is Season 2, Episode 5. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like, rate, subscribe, drop a comment. Doesn't even have to be a question. Just say, hey, say you suck, something. Give me some engagement, and we'll see you guys next week.